Welcome to the Between Space, the podcast where emotions are no longer problems to solve, just sensations to feel. I'm Leni, and this space is for the women who feel like they're in between, not broken and not finished, just in the process. Welcome to episode 2 of the Between Space. Today is all about anxiety. And the reason why I want to talk about anxiety is because, first of all, I have experienced anxiety the whole week in my body. And we all know that the sensation of nervousness, tightness in the chest, racing heart is really, really uncomfortable. But also, this was the sign for me that anxiety is like a widespread experience for many, many people. But this episode isn't about fixing your anxiety. This episode is about offering a different view, and I want to shine light on the view through the body, the nervous system lens. So why do we experience anxiety? What does it actually mean? How can we then adapt to the communication? Because anxiety is a way of communication from our body. So what can we do when this is happening, and how can we potentially long-term find a more grounded connection in the body, a more grounded nervous system, so that we are not getting to the peaks of anxiety where it's unbearable to be in our bodies and where we just want it to stop. I looked up the stats, right, the numbers, because I really was curious to read how widely spread, globally affecting anxiety actually is. And according to the World Health Organization, in 2019, 301 million people globally were living with anxiety disorder. And this is huge. If you think about how many people are on the planet, this is a lot. And I'm completely aware that not everyone who is experiencing anxiety has an anxiety disorder. But I just want to mention that because it's really, really a big number. And actually, women are twice as much affected from this as men. And often we don't notice because we're doing things that are socially glorified, accepted, like overperforming, overachieving, but this can be all hidden signs of anxiety no one is really talking about. And I'm going to go into this a little bit later. Signs like racing heart, feeling nervous, feeling we can't be still, we need to be busy. These are quite common signs, and you might be able to detect them in your days, right? You have experienced them maybe. But how do we get out of this cycle? So what we're going to do. And first and foremost, I want to talk about anxiety and mindset. So anxiety is not a mindset problem. So that's also why when you do meditation, when you journal, when you do breath work, it may not give you the desired effect. You still experience anxiety because these are not the right tools, or not as alone standing the right tools to feel through your anxiety rather than handle your anxiety, to manage your anxiety. Because I understand if the anxiety is coming up, it's very uncomfortable and we just want to make it stop, right? But what result is coming from this is we start to blame ourselves because now we've done all the work and we should be able to handle it better. We should be able to maybe avoid it completely, to feel anxious. We should be able to manage the symptoms and still keep going on with our lives. Shame, blame, guilt are nervous system triggers which are categorized as threat. So guess what? It's actually intensifying the unwanted sensations that we already have. And why is this happening? It's because the body doesn't feel safe. Anxiety is a sign from your body that your body doesn't feel safe. It might not feel logical why in this moment your body is not feeling safe, because to your logical mind, this actual situation that is happening right in front of you, in that you're in this moment, logically might not seem as a threat, but it can feel for the body very threatful, especially if we are already in a nervous system state which is in high alert. So our body is constantly scanning our environment for threats, because the only thing our nervous system is programmed to do is keeping us safe. So when you experience anxiety, that actually means that your body is doing a fantastic job. Your body is keeping you safe. So when you experience anxiety, it's not a flaw, it's biology. And it's working fantastic. Obviously, if we experience anxiety to an extent where it's really paralyzing us, that is not a wanted outcome. And there are tools that we can implement so that our body feels in general much safer, so we don't experience these peaks of anxiety. What are subtle signs of anxiety that you might not be aware of? Is over-explaining, is over-planning, people-pleasing. Sometimes we numbing ourselves. We are very irritable. We want to flee a situation. We are going on defense. We want to fight. And these are all natural responses that we can't control because it's happening on the nervous system level. So our body is run by our fantastic nervous system. But logically, I cannot disable the reaction of the nervous system unless I create a safe environment in my body. Create a grounded sensation in my nervous system that when a situation that comes up is not categorized as a threat anymore. And often what happens is we adopt strategies like high achieving, high functioning, which are all in our society praised. So we actually do more of what is fueling our anxiety. Therefore, we come in this loop that is a vicious cycle. I am overachieving because I experience anxiety of not being good enough. Then I receive the praise for being always so good on top of it. But this then is fueling my anxiety again, which then tells me again, I need to keep doing more, because otherwise I'm not gonna receive acknowledgement, I get fired, whatever is coming up in the mind. But you see what's going on, right? We are fueling this vicious cycle. And what is the solution to this? Is actually slowing down. This is probably the thing that you want to do the least. But this is where the potential lies of breaking through the cycle, because performance becomes a coping strategy. And although, as mentioned before, this is something that you might consider as good, it's praised by society, we are rewarded for this, it's very much counterproductive if you want to get out of your anxiety spiral and your autonomous body reactions. So what does actually help? Sometimes the typical tools, they don't help. Or you need to add other tools as well, because I'm a fan of journaling, I'm a fan of meditation, I'm a fan of affirmations. But most likely it's not going to help on its own. What actually helps are moving your body in moments of anxiety, because what happens when we experience anxiety in the body is we have this energy moving, right, through the body, and sometimes it's actually stuck. So when you feel shut down, you feel like, oh, I actually have to do things, but I'm avoiding. I'm scrolling on my phone. I'm kind of like checking out. This would be a freeze response from the body. But if we go on defense, then it's a fight response. Either way, there is energy stuck or moving. But if it's moving, it's usually very agitated. So movement is a beautiful tool in the moment to feel your way into the body. One thing that I have learned over and over again, and I had to remind myself about this also this week, is that we cannot intellectualize feelings. We actually need to feel them, we have to acknowledge them, and we have to experience the sensations that come with these feelings in our bodies. Now, sometimes feeling the sensation is impossible because it seems too overwhelming, especially if we're not used to allowing ourselves to feel sensations in the body. What is very important is we want to reintroduce feeling slowly. Not just going all in 20 minutes, having, like sitting, freezing, and being completely terrified, because that is reinforcing the threat into the body. But what you could do is you take 5 seconds, 10 seconds, and place your hands on your heart and on your belly and just acknowledge that you feel anxious. Acknowledge that your heart is racing. Acknowledge that your breath is shallow. Acknowledge that you're sweating. And acknowledge that you feel afraid. Because the body is communicating with us through the sensation, and all it wants to be heard. It wants to be recognized. And in a moment you do this, there is a very good chance that the symptoms lessen in intensity. It most likely will not eliminate right away all the symptoms, because there is the practice, like with everything else. If you're going to the gym and you want to get stronger, you have to start with lower weights, and over time you build up your strengths, so then you can use more weights. And this is the same. Slowing down is the way, not stressing. Acknowledging, not denying. Allowing, not forcing. But what I invite you to do is, for this week, for next week, notice when you feel anxious. Take a moment to pause, and even if it's just a breath, acknowledge that it's there and be present rather than turning away. Because the more we practice this, the easier it becomes to just experience, and the more grounded we stay when it happens. Thank you so much for being here. Send me a message if there is anything that resonates with you. I really would love to hear from you. Leave me a comment on the podcast, subscribe, and share it with everyone that you think who would like it. Thank you so much, and see you in the next episode.